Okay, so this is the next video. My channel, Mammals and Strangers. I'm sitting in the same chair. I'm in the same place. Nothing has changed for me, but I just wanted to be sure that you could take a little break and take care of your families and not feel stuck in a video the whole time. But this one will cover another story. The first one talked about a gentleman whose kappa worried him. And then this one was a different kind of a story. And this one has more of the importance to me of our relationship together and where we're sending this beautiful work out into the world. And I'll try to get into that in a minute, but I'll just give you the background of the story first. We put this beautiful little fish dish up to be sold at a special price because it's a special piece. You see the little flowers, every one is different. I mean, you even see, bearded iris. You see the beards on the bearded iris here too? I mean, every single flower, roses, all the different kinds of posies. And then up in here, where normally it's just straight checks, it's diamonds of all different colors. And so this dish was a very special dish. Here's the outside of it. And when we shared this dish, we told everybody that it was mended. And we even made a video that showed that it had been mended. And what do they call that little picture at the beginning? A thumbnail. You know, the thumbnail when you open up the video? We showed it with me holding this like this. Remember? It was dropped one day, a long, long time ago, and mended. And it's mended so hard, it's stronger than we use it all the time, as if it's not mended at all. I think it's a kind of glue that's stronger than ceramic. But we mended it just so we could keep using it. We didn't mend it so it would hide the crack or anything. So you could see the cracks. Now, this is where I think for America, it's a bit more of a step, but it's not something we can't get to. The whole world has been working together to show look at that, isn't that pretty? To show the progression of mankind. And we're trying to keep our progression pure and strong and accounted for. And much of our learning comes from going to museums, because we see these cultures from ancient times and even from ancient cultures in our times. And you see all kinds of fascinating things that you never realized before. And all of the cracks, most everything you'll see in a museum has been mended. Many of the museums that are very wealthy museums have very fancy mending departments where they can melt down metals and color the metals just right. They can get just the right tones of wood to fill in a crack or whatever it is. They have the materials, well-trained staff that can do those kinds of mends. But they also don't mind if it's a big section of putty put there to just show a missing part that they never found, that somebody just threw away in the old fireplace, and they didn't notice that it was an important pot to show the life of the people at that time. And so we feel that having patrons like you all, so near and dear to us, some of you are buying things because you want to support the true story of MacKenzie-Childs. And the lady was very upset, and she hadn't looked at the video, which was right on the only social media she has is Facebook, and she never looked at the video. She just grabbed the piece, and she never looked closely at the piece. And we also said This is a mended piece. And we, in the video, we talked about what we're talking about now, really. And so this piece, when we first made it, was revolutionary. We had started to make these fish dishes of all sizes, and then we started to understand that we could do higher levels of them, newer versions, explore more together. And it was a wonderful time. And here was the only piece of that period. And it had broken once, a long time ago. Somebody must have dropped it on the floor, and it broke. And of course, we mended it and kept using it. We've had it for 25 years, 30 years, mended. And you heard how hard this steel floor is underneath this skinny little rug. It's tough, but this mending material that we use is very strong. And so we don't feel bad. I would serve this to the Queen. In fact, I'm proud of it because it's the most important, one-of-a-kind piece of that period. So it had a special price and a special video to express it, and a message, and we were so hopeful that it would go into the hands of somebody who really was supportive. And when I said how important this piece was, the person said, "Oh, well, that's your story," in a mean way, cruel way. And you know what? It didn't bother me for my sake, but it bothered me for the sake of the ongoing support of the future. That I was hoping that people were buying these special pieces, and most everybody was and is, with the flaws that come with them, with the age, with the period. Heather, our daughter, made a speech one time on the radio in New York where she talked about the peculiarities. It was early on, you see, because early on with MacKenzie-Childs, people would not have accepted these little flaws and pinholes and cracks and this and that. No, they never would have, because they were raised in an economy and a period of time that was, everything had to be new and very slick. And so she called it peculiarities, and I almost thought, oh no, what is she saying? And it was so cute because I looked up peculiarities. I don't have the dictionary in my lap right now, but you could look it up. It's a wonderful definition. And it's so original. It's so much about the originality that life brings to light on everything. And so it was too bad, because I felt bad that it got into the hands of somebody who didn't understand that and seemed to not understand it throughout our conversation. But we made an amicable agreement that we would, she would send the piece back in the condition that she got it, which is how it is, exactly how it is. And then she would receive a credit. So if she bought something else, she could use her credit for the object and the cost of the object. So anyway, but to me, it's just part of the beauty. And she said, well, that's your story, but I think it's all of our story, and we need to enjoy it together. We don't have to buy these things. In fact, I've noticed from people showing me things of their houses that many of their houses look like they never even lived there. Everything is so perfect. There isn't any dust. There isn't any, mistake anywhere. And I love that. I love that kind of pristine condition. But I don't mind all of the ways that things come about into our lives. But you could probably buy from each other, from your trading posts, things that look like they've never been touched. And maybe they haven't. They've just been put in a scene that reflects the environment around them. And that's beautiful in itself. So, anyway, I hope that this experience has been a blessing, not only to the lady, I'm not sure, but it's okay, we don't all get all of our blessings at once. And a blessing to you all and to the work of the real MacKenzie-Childs. It needs to be known because the people who write the history have the money to make up the history. And we're just showing you the history right here. And here's some more. I wanted to show you, we're going to show a little video about every single thing we put up online. And sometimes the most expensive things will be the things that are the most rugged from life, because that's their age, their place in history, their statement, and we're making a statement by having that. And this one you can see. See these little black marks, and it's even peeling a little bit on the corner. Do you see that? The gold? Well, that's because it really shouldn't be washed. It should be dried off with a damp cloth. This was the base of a beautiful glass dome, all hand painted. And but it's very important as it is. And then here's another one that's even more rugged. And it was also the base of a glass dome. And you see how it's chipped here? But if, and here and there, here, and even here. But even if you put a coat of varnish on this, it would stay the way it is, but it would never get worse, because the varnishes that they make these days are very strong. You could put some glue under here. See, you can lift it with your fingers, put a little glue under there, and press it down hard, and then wait until it's dry, and then varnish it, and voila, you have a piece that will last for several more centuries, in use even, not counting being put up in a curios. We don't want it to go into a curios if we can help it. But at the same time, some things are at that point where you just want to take care of them and make sure that they're beautifully cared for. Here's another one. These are all wooden chargers. And this one had a big glass dome, all of beautiful painting, and all of these things we lost by now. But other people have those beautiful glass chargers, but they don't, domes, but they don't have the charger. So you could get the charger and buy the glass dome from them, or sell the charger to them, and they'll have, see how this is? This can all be varnished. See the varnish? You can see how it's cracked on here. So beautiful. And this is a label, which I would leave on there. You can't read much of it, but it's part of its authenticity. But all this would be varnished, and the wood would be secure. So there are some things that you'll be buying throughout the course of history that will have little repairs along the way that you will make as you see fit, depending on your use of them. I was just going to end our video, but I have one more thing to say, and that is that matter doesn't matter. I've always said that ever since I was a child. Matter doesn't matter, but if we see it in its right light, it can represent something beautiful and good and lessons to learn. It's not that we put it on a pedestal, but we definitely need to have these little waymarks as we go. And I know that we'll all be progressing together. You watch. This is a very important time for us to be together. Very important. And we're just following the footsteps, step by step, and also realizing what's really wholesome in our lives. What do we want to celebrate as our true conception of home and family and community, and yes, even the kingdom of heaven at hand. Thanks, my friends. I hope to talk to you again soon.